Hello and welcome to the How to Coach Grassroots Football podcast, sponsored by 3Q Sports. I am joined by Jonny Martin and James Cutting. How are you both?
Very well.
Very excited.
Talk to me about our new studio.
Incredible.
I'm absolutely buzzing. There's a Spurs post.
Yeah, I've got no Norwich City, which is my team.
Wayne Rooney,
memorabilia.
overhead kick.
You love Wayne Rooney.
Theatre of
I do.
Dreams.
Wayne
Cambridge
Rooney.
United. Spent a whole
It's great. It's all great stuff. It looks
My side-
fantastic, but
my
Johnny's
side's
is
better.
kind of Johnny themed, so I'd like there to be some sort of updates.
England, Tottenham, Oranges.
Yeah,
Three
that's all
things.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Three of his biggest loves.
Yeah.
Okay, so the concept of the podcast, well, what the podcast is all about is supporting grassroots coaches, grassroots parents, trying to help them get through the football season and stay insane throughout that, because it is a long football season, particularly when the weather gets cold as well. So how it's going to work, guys, you listening?
New
Yeah,
format.
Yeah? New format. I'm going to be asking 4 questions.
4 questions. Okay.
The scores are going to be kept for the whole season. Look
Ooh.
at the scoreboard.
I wonder what that was.
Nice.
So we're keeping the scores for the whole season. For the winner, a massive prize. For
Wait,
the
point at
loser-
Johnny.
No, it's just I'm working
Yeah.
today.
Point at me. Do that again. Point at me.
The winner,
Yeah.
a massive prize.
Yeah.
The loser, complete shame.
Ooh.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
It's cutthroat.
That's how it
The
should be.
podcast
Like children's
industry is
football.
cutthroat. So what I'm going to do, I am going to start with a coin toss.
Okay.
Nice. Traditional.
To see who goes first.
To see who goes, obviously, to see
Yeah.
who's got old school, coin toss. We go from there. Are you ready to start the season?
This is a big moment.
Yeah. Huge moment.
So here we go. Coin toss. Who wants to call?
Go on.
I'll call.
Go on, Jason.
James is going to call.
Tails never fails.
Wait till it's in the air, please.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Heads.
It is a head.
Yes.
Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
Okay, here we go with question 1. And we start at the very beginning, the warm-up. Can be quite tough, not knowing what to do, trying to make it fun and engaging. We've all seen the boring ones with the cues, kids in lines, not enjoying it. How would you guys make that warm-up fun and engaging? James, winner of the coin toss, you're up first. Talk to me about warm-ups.
I hate those old school grassroots warm-ups. Kids on the halfway line laying it off and having a shot. Instead, I would play a match.
Play a match, Jonny Martin.
For me, my favourite way to start a warm-up and start a session is with tag games.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to have a little think now, because it's
I
a
know
big,
who you're going to go for.
it's big though, isn't it? It's the
Yeah, I
first
know.
point of the podcast season.
It's going to be a
I'm-
glorious moment, whoever wins this
The
point.
coin toss was vital in this.
Don't do yourself a disservice. Like, tag game's a really good answer. But
Really good, John.
who doesn't love a game to warm up with a game? James, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm going to make a big deal of this because it's the first point of the podcast. Do you actually want to have a look at the scoreboard?
Yeah.
Watch this mind control.
Oh,
That was pretty
Luke
cool.
Chadwick.
That was
Magic.
very good.
How'd you do that?
It's magic. So, James, 1-0 up. Congratulations, but tell us some more about it.
Kids love matches. What a great way to get them into their match, their game, the right mindset, ready to play a grassroots match by playing a little small-sided match. So I'd literally set cones up on the pitch and play a very small-sided game. So it might even be, if you've got a squad of 10 players, you might even set up 2 little games, a 3v3 and a 2v2. But kids run around, they have fun, they've got a big smile on their face, and they're getting prepared to do exactly what they're going to do against an opposition, but just with their mates on a rec down on a Saturday morning.
Jumpers for goalposts.
Old school, but
And
the
is
best.
that training and a match? You'd be
Yeah.
happy to sort of set up a game, get them playing straight away, on arrival, straight into it.
I think as well that the reason I really like what you've just said is that if you start with that in training and do it on a match day, kind of takes the big feeling of the match day away. So 8-year-old kid, might be a bit nervous playing a match. It's different to training, sort of feels the same. We're just on a grass rec and we're playing football, and it just kind of really nullifies those fears and nervousness on a match day.
And would it make any difference with the age of the children? Obviously, they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When they get a little bit older and obviously they're growing, might need a proper warm-up. Like, would you still do that with for example, under 15 and under 16 team?
The biggest difference for me would be just making sure we're taking care of children as they grow. Their bones are developing, their muscles are developing. So at an age where maybe 15, 16, and they may need to include some dynamic or static stretching within their warm-up, then I think it's really important to incorporate that. If they go full on into a game, they're doing long passing, for example, I'd keep the pitch tight for that reason. So there's no big lofted passes and you're pulling your groin before you've even warmed up properly. But you'd probably involve, pause the game for a couple of minutes and do some dynamic stretches and then back into the game for the older age groups.
Loving it. Jonny, what are your thoughts on... I know you answered second. Usually when you answer second, it's a kind of, I would have said that. I would have said that. What are your thoughts on what James has said?
I would have said that.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to start training, start a match.
The tag games are good.
The tag games are good.
It's a good answer,
Probably
mate.
second best to a match. But I think with tag games, obviously the kids are used to playing them at school, love running around, creates loads of energy, fun into the session. So it's a...
Give us a tag
really
game,
good
John.
way.
Give us an example.
Banana split.
Oh,
What is that?
what is that?
Well, when you get tagged, you put your hands up like this, and then to be freed, someone has to pull your arms down. So
Under 16s?
like a banana.
I think they'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different. I always called it it. Never
Yeah.
tag. Let's have a game of it at school.
Definitely
Just
not.
charging around everywhere.
Definitely not TIG. I saw
TIG's
that in
a
one of our
northern thing,
saw that in one of our social media videos the other day. I'd never heard of TIG,
No.
only tag.
That's always been it at Meldriff Primary School.
Does it?
That's all. We'll have a game of it.
We'll do that after the pod, shall we?
Yeah, we'll have a run the car park. Be careful though. In terms of sort of getting footballs involved, because I know, like you in your session, I've seen you coach so many times, and you want to get the footballs out as soon as possible. Would that be incorporated into a tag game?
Yeah, so I think my first choice would always be a match. If not, I'd do a tag game, start without the footballs, and then introduce them to get the exact same tag game, but with a football at their feet. And I think it is a great way to get them warm, get them touches on the football. Then you might go into something like a ball mastery or a little invasion game or a directional practice before the match then starts. But I think there are a number of ways of doing it that definitely aren't line drills, that definitely aren't the kids queuing up or running around the pitch or anything like that. There's so many ways to warm the children up in a fun and enjoyable way.
I hate those old school methods. There's nothing worse than seeing a grassroots football team with all the kids lining up on the halfway line or running the width of the pitch and they're doing high knees at under sevens. It happens.
Yeah.
I saw it down the rec the other week. There was kids running across the pitch doing high knees and heel flicks. It's what we did 20 years
But I think
ago.
that's the point. I understand. I don't think it should be done, but I understand it because it is. You just revert to type, don't you? As a
to what you know.
older person, that's what you did growing up, and that's what you then perceived the right thing to do. And it's sort of that education. I mean, I think like the way obviously tag games, just listening to you speak, it sounds like fun. But then
that's what this podcast's all about. So for all the coaches listening that have done an old school warm up and have now had their eyes open to actually I could play a tag game. Actually, I could play a little 3v3s on the pitch instead, and the kids would enjoy that more. That's the whole purpose of this podcast, right? To give people, arm them with the knowledge. They may not have the experience of years of football coaching that we collectively do, but if we can arm people with that knowledge, then our purpose is fulfilled.
What an amazing way
Extra
to end.
point for that?
No bonus points.
No bonus points. And my mind I can't keep giving points out like that. It hurts my brain just making that scoreboard click over. But congratulations.
Good start.
1-0.
Not for me, but a good start for you.
No, still a good answer.
Yeah, great
Good
start.
answer.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Everyone's doing really well so far, but we'll go to question 2. Okay, guys, question 2, and it is a big one, a really contentious point. It is all about fairness in team selection. I think we've all seen it. The manager picking his little one to play up front every week, same players starting the game, same little children sat on the bench. How would you guys ensure fairness when selecting your teams? Okay, Jonny, I'm going to go to you this time because it's fair. That's what we're talking about, fairness. I'm going to go to you because James went first last time.
I'm going to go for not an obvious answer to this question, but I think there's a more obvious answer, but I'm going to go for rotating positions.
Rotating, James?
For me, I would solve the number one problem in grassroots football, which is the absence of equal playing time.
That's the obvious answer.
Okay.
Sometimes the obvious answers are the best, John.
Well, let's find out.
Well, you're going to find out now, but I'm going to have a little think because, like you say, that, for me, that is the most powerful thing. It has to be, and I understand what you're saying. And I really want to give you the point to make it 1-1, but I've got to go with what I feel. I can't just be here to keep you happy.
You do you.
2-0. Congratulations. Thanks. Can we get that scoreboard ticking? Is it ticked?
No. But use your mind power, mate.
Use your mind.
Tango 2.
Oh, look
up
at
there.
2-0.
Okay, James, well done. 2-0 up. And the way that you spoke about that with the biggest problem or the biggest challenge in your opinion is unequal playing time. Tell me a little bit more about your thoughts on it.
It's the biggest frustration for parents in particular when they see their child stood on the side of the pitch when they might have been the same last week and the week before that. It's really important that children have variation within their childhood football participation, but also really important that it's fair. And it's not fair for 6 and 7-year-olds to feel like they're the one left on the side of the pitch, because the 7-year-old that's the perceived worst player might be the best player at under 16s. And in fact, who cares whether they're the best or worst player? The most important thing in grassroots football should be the enjoyment of the kids. So for me, equal playing time up until, I don't know, maybe under 10s, 11s is an absolute must.
And like, when you say it out loud, it's blatantly obvious that is the case. Well, like, in your opinion, why does that not happen at times?
The coach's ego is quite often the number one reason why the team selection is based on the result of the game rather than the enjoyment of the children. Coaches want to win games. Kids want to win games. Of course they do. But it's not fair to then select the best players every single week, especially at the younger age groups, because, like we said, the enjoyment of the children is the most important thing, and their development is the second most important thing. So you're hampering both of those things if we're selecting the perceived best players every single week.
And does that, like, is the game, in my mind, as soon as it turns into the coach wanting to win a game, in any grassroots football, like below the ages of under 13s, and what it looks like, the game's broken, isn't it? There's no, like, how does anyone get anything out of it if it's about the coach and not about the children, which sounds like what you're saying is the reason why the perceived best players get more playing time? I
think children will stop playing the game if they feel those frustrations, and parents will then feel aggrieved, aren't they? The only time a parent is ever going to go to the coach and feel aggrieved in the real youngest age groups if the child isn't really playing or there's something fundamentally wrong in what the coach is doing. It's actually really simple to just pick a team, rotate positions, rotate who's playing, who starts, who's on the bench each week, and it kind of makes life a lot easier. And ultimately, your job as a grassroots football coach, I believe, is to keep the children playing, keep them loving the game, enjoying it as much as possible. So to rotate positions and rotate who starts every single week, I think is the best way to do it.
Grassroots football is fundamentally broken, isn't it? There's lots of great work that goes on up and down the country, but the fact that there are still people that put themselves and the result ahead of the children's fair play and rotating positions, it's just bonkers. That shouldn't and can't happen.
But how does it? I mean, because I see it a lot, and there's people that I know are fantastic people, but they get to the side of a football pitch, they're coaching.
It's the nature of the beast,
and
right?
it just sort of beggars belief in terms of what it turns into, even at those very youngest
Quick
stages.
question, yes or no? Have you ever been that person? Have you ever stood on the side of the pitch and picked the team because you want to win the game? Jonny?
Yes.
Luke?
Yes.
Me? Yes. So what it comes down to then is, if you were, same or different question, one word answer, if you were coaching a team now at under 7s, would you ensure equal playing time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it's all about education.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, answering that question, yes, I don't think I ever have done it at that age. Okay. Like, in terms of under 7, like, I think I've done it under 11s, under 12s, and probably gone out there within an academy environment wanting to win the game, which is 100% my egotistical values of winning means everything. But like you say, the education is the most important thing. Just before we talk about rotating positions, John, like see a lot of your social media content and you talk about what James spoke about there, equal playing time, and a lot of comments you get on that saying maybe disagreeing with you and sort of saying maybe it's certain. Like, is there an age where that changed?
I get called woke because I think that children should play equal playing time. Like, if that's the case, then absolutely fine, because it's bonkers that children aren't able to have a fair amount of playing time and opportunity.
I've had enough of your
7 or 8, 7 and 8 years old. It just blows your mind. I think for me, within the foundation phase, children should have equal playing time and should have exposure to playing all different positions on the pitch. As they get older, then I think there will be or can be a slight change. But ultimately, in grassroots football, the score really doesn't matter. What matters is children falling in love with sport, falling in love with physical exercise. And if it means that by playing equal minutes is the way in which to do that, that's what coaches should do.
And is there a way of changing that whole dynamic that you see in quite a large amount of grassroots football? Is it, like we always say, it's education, but you've got
Education takes too long. There's no way that the FA could continue as they are, trying to educate people. Ultimately, that won't make a fundamental difference. The only way to do that is to change the rules, that everyone has to play equal time across all age groups or whatever it is. That is the only way that ultimately will make a overnight difference. Otherwise, FA, all the brilliant work they do, trying to educate and make it fun, and the new things that they're implementing at those younger age groups will make a difference over time, but it's going to take a long time.
But tell us a little bit more about sort of the rotating positions.
For me, I was trying to be edgy with my answer.
You're an edgy guy.
Oh, thanks,
I've always
mate.
said that.
But I think for me, equal playing time is the most important thing. However, with rotating positions, I think that's how children can really develop their skills and develop a longer a love for the game. So for me, I think it's really important to play children in goal, up front, midfield, out wide, also starting on the bench, and they get so many different experiences by doing that. So that's why I went for that answer. But James, quite worthy winner of the second point. I've got work to do in the second half.
2-0 up. I mean, I can't believe that you went with an edgy answer to the most least edgy host in the whole world. I think you're going to get a point for it. James, we're going into half-time. Mm-hmm. You have got a commanding lead. Congratulations, but don't let it go to your head, because it's going to be a big, big second half. A massive half-time shout-out to our brilliant sponsors at 3Q Sports. Just to let you all know, they are giving away £500 worth of football kit and equipment to one of our lucky listeners. To have a chance of winning, click on the link in our description. A bit of half-time entertainment now with Chaddy's football fun fact. This week, the question that I'm asking the guys or anyone listening is, which Premier League player has missed the target the most with shots they've taken, with a huge 639. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to reveal the answer at the end, guys, but okay. I'm going to let you have one guess now and one guess at the end. So I'm feeling very, very generous today. Okay. So, James?
I'm going to go for Sean Wright-Phillips.
Sean Wright-Phillips. The one person I weren't expecting you to say was Sean Wright-Phillips, but could be. Yeah. I'm not going to give it away now. John?
I'm going to go for Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer, the Premier League's top ever goal scorer.
See what you've done there.
Lots of shots.
Lots of shots.
Lots of games. Yeah.
Lots of goals.
It always reminds me of Michael Jordan, that famous quote that I missed 100% of the shots that I didn't take. Nice. You've got to shoot. If you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to win the raffle. I mean, that's fact. There's no chance. There's no chance. Yeah, profound. Okay, into the question 3 to start off the second half. We've all seen it in years gone by. Fearsome characters on the side of a football pitch, the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, Neil Warnock, Alan Pardew, shouting and screaming at their players, demanding what they do, which is fine in the Premier League. But where it doesn't sit right is at the side of a children's football pitch with managers shouting and bawling at their players. How do we make that better? What environment can we create to make it fun and enjoyable for the children. James, what are your thoughts?
Positive feedback from the sidelines only would be my approach, especially with the younger age groups, making sure that I'm not instructing the children, telling them what to do, moving them around like Subbuteo players. It's about positive feedback. If there's then more developmental feedback, that should happen in the intervals in the game or at the end.
Very good. Jonny?
I think coaches should stop shouting and telling the children exactly what to do and giving them all the answers, and instead ask more questions.
Oh,
like
that is very good.
Give him a point. Give him a point. Give him a point, Chad.
I am going to give that point to Jonny Martin
Get
for
in.
the first time, because it's not gone up yet.
Come on.
Watch it. Both of you watch.
I'm watching, yeah.
See if it works.
Watching the scoreboard. Oh, it's 2-1.
Very good.
2-1. Jonny, fantastic answer. Talk to me about it a little bit more.
I think you see at grassroots football, coaches on the sidelines shouting to the children where to go, what to do, when to pass, how to shoot, whatever
And
it
parents.
is. And parents as well. And I think that the way to immediately stop doing that is just to ask thought-provoking questions, because the children at those youngest age groups will need a bit of guidance and support. So a good way of doing that without giving them all the answers is through questioning.
So give me an example of that. So, striker's gone through, missed the target, looks a little bit disappointed. Like, what's your question?
For me, I actually think it's more so like a step before that. So I think when the children are dribbling, you often hear, get your eyes up or pass. And what I would rather do is ask them, who can you see or what can you see? Because what that encourages them to do is still then get their eyes up, which is ultimately what you want them to do. And then they're still in charge of the decision making. So whether it is to pass or to shoot. But that question is almost like a trigger to encourage the next bit, but then still enable them to make the decision themselves.
When's that question asked? So for example, the little boy or little girl's dribbling with the ball. Yep. Are you sort of shouting, have you got your eyes up then? Or is it more of a one to, like what?
Yeah, good question. I think you can do it in both scenarios. I think you can do it in the moment, as long as it's not all the time in the moment, because ultimately the children are concentrating on what they're doing and they're trying to make their own decisions. But I think you can, in that moment, if you are to say something, it's asking those thought-provoking questions in the moment, or those triggers to encourage them to get their eyes up. Equally, the best time to do it really is at half-time, or pulling them over to one side and then asking that question sort of retrospectively to then understand their thought process in that moment of what they did. But I think you can vary it up. I don't think it needs to be all of one, all of the other.
I think with that, obviously, questioning, it's something that in youth football, it's something we're really encouraged to do, because it's so important to get the children understanding. Where I see it done but not done particularly well is when a coach is asking a question just wanting a specific answer and will sort of lead. Have you got any tips on sort of...
It's just all comes down to the questioning. So when you say, what do we need to find?
Oh, I hate that.
It's
That's
the worst.
My biggest bugbear in kids' football.
the worst.
Like, what do we need to look for when we're on the pitch?
And the kids just become robots in space. And they go, yeah, well done. And it is ultimately just ego almost, like trying to make me look like I know what I'm talking about. So it's those questions that are open-ended, could have multiple answers. And I think that's the way to avoid it, is to just ensure that it's as open as possible, and it gives them the creativity, the license, the decision making in part of that process.
I love that.
I think you need to make sure that the question isn't just an alternative for the direction, though.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, if it's have you got your eyes up, rather than get your eyes up, it's almost like the same in some ways.
It's what can you see? So therefore, it's like ultimately that encourages the children to get their eyes up. So not like, have you got your eyes up? Because then it's like, yes or no, I haven't, I need to get them up. But I think it's more so like, who can you see? What can you see? Because then at the moment, what can you see? Well, they can only see the football. So that might be a trigger in their head to then get their eyes up to look round and find the pass. So you're right. I think it takes a bit of practice. And I think reflecting on the question you just asked is in the moment is quite important to do as a coach, because then you start to become more aware of what you're saying and what you're questioning. But it can be, if perfected, I think a really useful coaching tool.
No, definitely. James, positive, just only positive. It sounds a little bit fluffy.
Yeah, I think within the younger age groups, I think it is really important to be positive from the sidelines. I think the two things that I would look to try and avoid from the sidelines of a grassroots football match is shouting pass and shouting shoot. Because what you're doing is you're telling the child what to do. So if they run through, they're in a shooting position, and you shout shoot, it's up to the child to make that decision. So great shouting, great dribbling as they run past the player might give them the confidence they need to make the decision to shoot. Or to pass it to someone else who's in a better position. But ultimately, whether it's the right decision or wrong decision, then the child is learning, because if they pass when they should have shot or shoot when they should have passed, then they will learn from the outcome of that. Whereas telling them to shoot is the wrong thing to do, because then essentially you're making the decision for them, and they don't learn from whether they've made the right decision or wrong. And sometimes it's even the wrong call, telling them to shoot when they should have passed.
There is only one thing that is worse in grassroots football than coaches shouting shoot or pass, and that is save it. Like, what do they think the goalie's going to do? Like, purposely not save the ball? Of course they're going to try and save it. It's just ridiculous.
With that, like, it's so automatic, isn't it? I don't know, is that something that you guys have had to work on? You know, as a just starting out coaching, it's sort of just what you do, isn't it? Like, you just shoot.
What you do as a fan, don't you? So have we all been at a game where you've been in a stadium and 40,000 people shout shoot as you get into a shooting position? We've all done it. And then when you become a coach, you then transfer being a fan into being a coach, because that's kind of almost like the closest thing, isn't it? You're the one on the sideline there.
Yeah.
But
it's those habits you've picked up ultimately as a fan that you need to try and stamp out if you're coaching, because it doesn't help in particular the youngest children and those age
what
groups.
would your advice be, like, in terms of that, for people looking to develop? They might be really new to coaching, took over because their little boy or little girl has started playing, and it's not natural to them, and they're just sort of a fan at the side. Like, how do you go from that fan to coach, and what tips, if any, you've got to support?
The biggest thing is self-awareness. So it's just trying to be aware of what you're doing and having thought behind everything that you do. So it can be achieved in sort of planning ahead of time. Sometimes it could be saying nothing, but it's being really thoughtful in what you're doing and thinking about that. Ultimately, it takes time, it takes practice, and it takes education from the courses that are out there. But I think coaches need to start off with, to make a change from being a fan into a coach, that ultimately what they need to do is have that self-awareness in the first place.
Fantastic. Well, that has set the cat amongst the pigeons. A massive point for you there, Jonny. Bringing it back to 2-1, going in to the final question. Are you guys ready?
Ready for it. Let's do it.
Here we go with the final question. And it's a bit of a controversial one. Everyone wants to win, but how do we avoid putting our ego ahead of the child's enjoyment? Okay, Jonny, I'm going to go with you first. All to play for, 2-1 down. Need a big answer. Hit me with it.
I think grassroots coaches should let the children decide on the importance of winning within grassroots football.
Nice.
Strong. James?
Grassroots coaches should select a team based on the development of the children rather than the team that's most likely to win the game.
Interesting stuff. I'll tell you what, this has been a hell of a battle. First half was all about you, James. Second half, you, John, have come into your own.
Thanks, man.
And the score is now 2-2.
2-2.
Oh, 2-2.
What a comeback. That's fantastic. Tell me some more about that. Tell me some more.
So ultimately, look, kids want to win.
Of course, yeah.
And there's no child that plays Monopoly that doesn't want to win. There's no child that turns up to a match day not wanting to win. So I think as a coach, you have to let that be driven by the children, and then you have to facilitate their learning, their development. And I sort of agree with James's answer as well in them picking a team that ultimately helps the children develop to then, or rather than to win. But I think, the kids want to win. You don't need to, within grassroots football, force that upon the children. It just happens naturally. So
I actually remember taking a grassroots team as a member from a long time ago, and the kids, we were going into an important game against tough opposition, and they wanted for the best team to start the game. So the kids were saying, this is the team we want to pick. Yeah. And they were like, no, you got to play Harry up front because he scores all the goals. And because it was driven by the children, I was like, yeah, cool. If everyone's happy with that, that's what we'll do.
Yep.
And that's the most important thing, isn't it? If then you're putting the children's, the kids just want everyone to play and everyone to have equal playing time, but then you as the coach are overriding that decision, then that's where it goes wrong.
I guess the challenge with that is then the different personalities within the group, isn't it? And you've got to know your players, know the children really well to be able to facilitate that. And that's not something I'd necessarily recommend to like an under-7s coach do it for the first time. But once you get to know your players in that example, is class, isn't it? The children all feel comfortable. You're making sure that everyone's heard and shares their opinion. But it just comes back to like no one wants to lose anything. And I think there's too much pressure from coaches on winning, and there's too much stress from parents on winning. But the kids play to win, they want to win, of course they do. So let that sort of come out naturally, and then as the coach, you can just facilitate that and make sure they're having fun.
No, I think it's a brilliant answer. And with that, obviously, we know that kids all want, they go there, they want to win the games, they're happy when they win the game. But with going into that as a coach, sort of the advice that you've given there, how easy is that? That's the idea leading into the game, but then you're on the match day and it's so easy to get then lost in the game. I know you spoke about self-awareness before and that sort of thing, but is there anything else that you can sort of recommend for coaches that may be listening or watching to this?
I think the biggest thing is in the planning and trying to decide what you want to get out from the game beyond the scoreline. So if you go into the game thinking, right, I really want the children to develop their passing today, and that's the focus of the game. When you talk through the team talk, that's what it can be aimed towards, rather than, I think a lot of team talks in grassroots football are, right, we need to do this to beat the opposition and we need to chuck it in behind to get their defender, whatever it may be. Whereas if you go into the game with a extension of your training, so whatever you're working on in training, you want to then try and get out in your game, that is where you can then overcome the winning mentality or the winning mentality overcome you on a match day.
Yeah, I think that is so important for people to get some tools of sort of how to actually know what it's like at the
it's easy for it to overcome.
No, without a doubt.
You spoke before about that sometimes when you share those views on social media, that people in the comments go, well, that's why the England team win nothing, because we're telling kids at 8, 9, 10 years old that they shouldn't focus on winning, whereas other countries are very much like, let's go and win, and those are the countries winning. So just to throw a little cat amongst the pigeons, could those people be right? Are we too soft? Are we too developmental?
I don't know. Like, in my opinion, sorry to...
No, you go.
You get that all the time, don't you? But the game has changed, and we talk about, like, there's still, of course, loads of work to do, but in terms of the way that we treat young people playing football, I do think it has improved. And when you speak about the England team now, more or less all of those England players have gone through the academy system, which obviously has got massive benefits to it, but also probably the most successful and technically gifted England teams we've probably ever had since winning the World Cup in 1966. And you feel like it's there is a lot of good work still being done, but so much more to do, because we talk about academy football, there's loads that doesn't sit right with me, and I know doesn't sit right with you guys, but there's obviously been improvements in general of what we're seeing at the top end within that England team.
Yeah, we are in the best place we've ever been with regards to that. It's just that those changes are fairly recent changes, aren't they? Where I think if you went back even 5 years ago, I think there'd be a lot more focus on winning now, and all the senior players that are kind of in their 20s maybe, they'll have come through a development pathway where the focus probably was on winning.
But I'd probably disagree with that in the fact that I do think, and you might agree or disagree, that academy football is very different in terms of how results are seen. Obviously, as a coach, sometimes you may not agree to that, but it does seem to be all about development. I mean, I've watched academy teams play, and you can see that they're not interested in the result by the amount of goals that are going in against them and that sort of thing. And you do feel like there is maybe a little bit of difference between grassroots in that respect and academy football at them really young ages.
Yeah, for me, what it comes down to is the journey that a child goes on. At no point do they, they're all internally competitive, aren't they? So at no point does that need to be forced upon them. And ultimately, to go through and play at whatever level they go on to play at, that will be innate. And when it comes down to trying to teach these children some skills and to develop them as better footballers, if your focus is on that rather than actually the result, that's that's what will get the children through, regardless of get it in the corner and like we've got to be more aggressive and play to win and all these sort of tactical elements at those youngest age groups. So whether it's grassroots or academy football, ultimately the focus from a coach's perspective needs to be on the development. And I think you do see that more now in academy football, probably more so than grassroots football. And ultimately that's why we're trying to do this podcast and we're trying to share the content that we do online, and the ethos of the Football Fun Factory is to try and make it fun, to make it enjoyable and have that focus on development, because that is what keeps children active. That's what keeps them playing sport. That's what actually helps them develop as young footballers as well.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, what a game.
2-2.
2-2. James, how are you feeling? I just want to get you...
Yeah, great game, John. A little bit disappointing when 2-0 up.
Yeah.
It's a long season ahead.
Long season,
you know, and even if it had been 3-0, 4-0, still a long way to go. So
back yourself.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. The most exciting thing for me is I haven't stopped thinking about the football fun fact and what the answer could be.
So you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, guys, we are going back. And I said I'm a man of my word. I said I'd give you another opportunity. I can let you know now that the two guesses you had were both wrong.
Ooh.
About the football player who's missed the most shots in Premier League history, 659. James, Jonny,
639.
600. What am I like? 639. John, you go.
Can we have another clue?
Oh,
No, I don't think you'd need another clue. I mean, it's so glaringly obvious.
Is it obvious? Is it a player that?
So perhaps that's a clue.
Yeah.
Come on, we don't want
a clue?
We don't want dead air. I need an answer from you now,
I don't know if it's a clue.
I need an answer.
Wayne
from
Rooney.
Wayne Rooney.
I think Johnny's along the right tracks in terms of a player that's played loads of games. Matt Letizia.
Matt Letizia, would he always been in the Premier League?
Yeah, good point.
So I'm going to tell you who it is. It is our country's greatest ever.
I was going to say him.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And that just shows what a lesson that is. Keep shooting because you will get your rewards.
Yeah.
Good fact.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. Big Spurs fan.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a big
Norwich fan.
Norwich City.
And he did play for Norwich as well.
On loan.
And Leicester.
Millwall.
England.
Well, thank you for joining the Harry Kane podcast. Next week, the topic will be involving goalkeepers in grassroots football. So for today, that's all we got time for. A massive thanks to Jonny.
Cheers, Chad.
Massive thanks
to
James.
Mate. Enjoyed that.
And also a massive thanks for you all to listen and watch this, and to our fantastic sponsors, 3Q Sports. See you again soon.